Today I'm pretty excited to bring you guys a story specific out of map exploration video. Today we're actually going to be having a look at Night City in the year 2023. This has been an interesting journey to try and get working, but essentially I have this game on Steam and also on GOG. So my Steam game is where I play the game for what it is, and then GOG is where I fuck around and do stuff like this. As I'm playing through the main story on my regular Steam account, then I'm making saves and going back to them through GOG in order to use no-clip and fuck around, essentially. But guys, before we get into today's video, I'm gonna do the thing, and I apologise in advance. A good portion of you watching are still not subscribed, and of course you have a right not to subscribe. I'm not gonna sit here and hold you at gunpoint. However, I'm saying if you do enjoy the content, then please do consider subscribing. First of all, I think it makes a great deal of sense to check out the actual club which you are playing in. So I've got to the point where Rogue is consistently pestering me to get in the chopper. If we follow it a little way back, we can see that there's a lot of these weird corridors that don't really go anywhere. These sets of doors do actually open, so I'm not sure if this is maybe tied to like a cinematic or something. So this second part of the flashback, where you basically spawn in from around this way, is in its own little kind of isolated area. The rest of the club is actually below the map, and you can also again clip in here to the dressing room, and then you can follow it round to where the stage actually is. But here is the stage itself, and of course we can actually clip into the audience, and this is where all the NPCs would be spawning, but evidently they're not spawning because that first half of the mission has been completed. But we can kind of follow it round and see that there's like these little windows which do exist. But where the crowd actually stands, there isn't really a great deal of stuff going on here. Obviously it's very fucking dark, but clearly you can tell that there isn't a great amount of detail. There is this cute little cloakroom which exists in its own little world, so you know, there's that. That's always quite nice. So yeah, that's the club which we actually playing. It's not the most interesting thing in the world. Anyhow, Night City itself, so obviously these gates are kind of like the boundary of this area, but we can clip beyond it and see that, interestingly, much to my surprise, not the entire city is loaded. In fact, it's only a very small handcrafted part of the city. You can see that there's a street vendor who's just out here selling to a window. Down here as well, there's also another street vendor which is just kind of floating. I'm not even sure if you can really see this from the playable area, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. And what this vendor's attached to is actually a shell of a mega building garage. So you can see here it kind of begins, and as you go a little further through this place, you can see that it's near enough fully modelled, and it exists pretty much as you'd expect. I mean, even down to like some of the props spawning, like these burning barrels. But a lot of the fake doors which are present in the free roam versions aren't actually here, so you can just see it goes into a great deal of nothing. But yeah, we've got things like vending machines which all work, and unfortunately you can't sprint when you're playing as Johnny, so having to just no-clip around this place. And I'm so broke I can't even afford a goddamn snack out of a vending machine, so maybe that's why we're planting a fucking nuke in Arasaka's tower. But yeah, there's no elevator to this building, and sort of the further up you go, the less detail it retains. A lot of it starts kind of culling out of existence. But yeah, you know, the car park actually is here, which is pretty cool. I'm assuming it has something to do with when you take off in the chopper, maybe you see this from above. Not 100% sure. But generally speaking, in this area there isn't really a great deal of stuff going on. I mean, we can have a look inside these buildings, but you know, there isn't really anything happening inside of them, as you would kind of expect. And there's some like weird little doorways and things, but you know, for the most part, what we're working with is just a really elaborate piece of set dressing. Same for this mega building as well, which should be like, what, mega building, I don't even know. It looks like mega building 10, but I don't know what it would be in this flashback. Even if you were to clip inside this place, you can see it does retain a lot of the structure, which mega buildings do have. Pretty much all of them look like this from the inside, but there isn't any kind of interior to these buildings in the slightest. And if we were to fly a little bit out of this tiny micro city, we can see like a wind turbine out in the Badlands. And what's really funny is that this entire location is pretty much just spawned in for this one mission. So like if I were to fly up, for example, you can see it just kind of exists in its own little world all the way out here in basically the edge of the map. And if we were to fly this way, then you can see Night City itself does actually exist. In one of the videos I did before looking at the Arasaka space station in free roam, I actually pointed out this big hole in the ground and, you know, like what the fuck is it doing here kind of thing. But evidently it has something to do with spawning in little parts of the map which don't exist in the kind of free roam version of the game. I know you're wondering as well, what the hell happens if you fly to Night City as Johnny Silverhand? You know, does it exist? Is it a real city? Is it going to crash? Is it going to blow up? So here we are in the midst of Vista Del Rey in 2077, playing as Mr. Keanu Reeves, and you can see that the city is very much functioning. I mean, everything which you would kind of expect from this place is pretty much working as intended. Vehicles spawn, NPCs are here having their unique dialogue. I don't think you're going to be able to fast travel. Yeah, so things like fast travel doesn't work, it even says unavailable. So here's the end car, and you can actually fast travel as Johnny Silverhand, which is pretty fucking crazy. And oh, it didn't like that. So I'm not actually sure what that brings up. It almost looks like an overview of Night City itself. You can't actually do anything, and it's funny how it breaks, but it does let you actually bring up the map, which it doesn't let you do normally. And you can see even things like gigs and side jobs and your apartment are all very much present. And I suppose that's there because, you know, all of this was added after the main story. So, you know, maybe there's like a weird bit of code that's getting jumbled up. Speaking of which, whilst we're here, I do want to fly to V's apartment just to see if we can get in as Silverhand. So let me get my bearings and we can get there. So here's Mega Building number 10. We're going to go see if we can check this place out. So there you go. The lift is usable. So evidently there is a game, you know, the actual Cyberpunk actually exists outside of this mission, which is pretty funny. So here's V's apartment, and you can actually walk in here as Silverhand. So, you know, evidently the game still very much functions outside of here. You can sleep, you can look in the mirror, which I'm curious to know how I'm gonna look. That's just V. That's fucking boring. So here we find ourselves actually above Arasaka Tower, and I'm really hoping that there isn't going to be some ridiculous triggers going on with this place. So first of all, obviously you telling me I can't fucking no clip? Oh my god. How dare you? How fucking dare you? It doesn't work. No way. So I've just loaded up the second save where you're actually on top of Arasaka Tower, and I've tried to no clip, but as soon as you hit it, it just freezes you in place and you can't move anywhere. Anyhow, that is Night City in the year 2023. I do hope this was interesting, guys, and as always, if it was, then please do feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you lot in a bit.